Today, we're talking about the floods in Libya, Joe Biden out here making shit up, Donald Trump upset with his judge, and more, all in today's episode of The Insight Hour. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our little corner of the internet. Now, I know I said 3 episodes starting this week, but there were multiple complications with my flight over the weekend. We'll talk about that later. First, what would you do if this was your kid?
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Shut the Hey!
Not nice.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You need to leave? No.
Okay.
Oh, he's out. Yeah, he's out.
I mean, he learned it from somewhere. Parenting.
More than 5,000 people are presumed dead, and 10,000 are missing after heavy rains led to the collapse of 2 dams in northeastern Libya. The situation is dire, with hospitals inoperable and morgues overflowing.
Where do we even start with this? First off, let's talk about those numbers because they're staggering. According to Tamir Ramadan, head of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies delegation in Libya, at least 5,300 people are thought to be dead with 10,000 missing. Yeah, 10,000 people. In Derna, the city hit hardest, whole neighborhoods have been washed away. Hospitals? Non-operational. Morgues? So full, dead bodies are left on the sidewalks. Imagine the horror of that for a second. And it's not just Libyans. At least 145 Egyptians were among those killed. On the brighter side, if there is one, countries like Turkey, Italy, and the United Arab Emirates are stepping up with aid and rescue teams. Even the US is getting in the action, declaring an official humanitarian need. Now, let's talk about preparedness, or the glaring lack thereof. Authorities didn't anticipate the scale of the disaster. No study on weather conditions, seawater levels, or wind speeds. No evacuation plans. It's like they were planning a surprise birthday party for disaster. And guess what? The disaster showed up and blew out all the candles. And let's not even get started on the political circus in Libya. You've got 2 administrations pulling the country in opposite directions. And what happens? Coordination for rescue operations go down the drain. It's like asking a cat and a dog to solve a Rubik's Cube together. Good luck with that. Why does it take a tragedy of biblical proportions to get people to talk about climate change? We've had wildfires, heat waves, and now this. What's it gonna take for us to realize that the planet isn't just going through a phase? It's screaming for help, or trying to get rid of the problem. Which seems pretty fair to me.
The U.S. Justice Department and a group of states are taking Google to court, alleging that the tech giant has abused its monopoly power in online search services. This is the first such trial against a tech giant since Microsoft faced similar charges over 2 decades ago.
So let's talk about Google, the company that's so big it's basically the internet's landlord. I mean, when's the last time you binged something? Exactly. Now, the Justice Department is saying you can't be the king of the internet. They're accusing Google of using shady partnerships to keep other search engines out of the game. I mean, imagine being the LeBron of search engines, but also owning the entire NBA. The stakes are higher than a Silicon Valley executive on a juice cleanse. If Google loses, it could be a game changer for the tech industry. We're talking about reshuffling of power. Like when you realize your grandma is actually the best player at the family poker game, the government's pulling out its centuries-old antitrust laws and dusting them off. They're arguing that Google's deals with companies like Apple and Samsung have made it almost impossible for other search engines to get a slice of the pie. It's like Google bought all the tickets and is scalping them for outrageous prices. Think Ticketmaster, but search engine. Now, Google, on the other hand, is giving everyone the finger, saying, you hate me because you ain't me. They're claiming their practices are as common as pumpkin pie on October. They're going so far as to say Amazon and TikTok are competitors. Yeah, and I'm competing with Usain Bolt because we both run. Technically. The government has a tough road ahead of them. I mean, they have to prove that Google's actions have actually harmed customers and stifled competition. It's like trying to prove that water is wet while Google argues that it's just visibly moist. Moist. I don't know why that word bothers people so much. Moist. Anyways, the trial will be in 2 parts. First, the judge will decide if Google's the internet's villain. If yes, then comes the what do we do now phase. The Justice Department hasn't spilled the beans on what actions they might ask for, but let's just say Google might have to play nice with others for once. I mean, can you imagine a world where Google isn't the only game in town? I know. It's like imagining a world where cats and dogs are best friends. And I'm talking natural best friends, not you people that raise them together. Stick with me for this one for a second. Breaking Google's monopoly could be like opening Pandora's box, but in a good way. Like finding out there's a secret menu at your favorite restaurant. See, right now Google's like that one restaurant in a small town that everyone has to eat at because, well, there's nowhere else to go. Or viable options. You know, options that tend to not suck. What if you could choose a search engine that aligns with your values, like privacy or innovation. I mean, competition is the mother of innovation. Or was it necessity? Yeah, they're like second cousins. Point is, if Google actually has to compete for your love, they'll have to step up their game. No more resting on their laurels. We could see faster search engines, better algorithms, and maybe, just maybe, a search engine that understands my typos. A man can dream, right? Let's not forget, competition usually means lower prices, or in this case, free search engines. That sounded better than my head, but yeah, you get it. Imagine a search engine that not only finds what you're looking for, but also makes you a cup of coffee. Okay, so maybe not that, but I don't know, you know where I'm going with this. Anyhow, breaking the monopoly means decentralizing power, like taking the One Ring away from Sauron and giving everyone in Middle-earth a piece of it, hopefully with fewer apocalyptic consequences. Hey, that aligns with the idea that resources, or in this case, search capabilities, should be distributed in a way that benefits many, not just the Silicon Valley few. Breaking up Google could set off a chain reaction across the tech industry. Today, Google, tomorrow, Amazon, and the next day, who knows, maybe even the soul-sucking abyss that is social media. Facebook. I'm talking about Facebook. Breaking Google's monopoly could be the best thing to happen to the internet since cat memes. More choice, more innovation, and a big win for the little guy. And who knows, maybe Bing will finally get its moment in the sun. Or not. Probably not. We'll have to see where the AI wars go first. All I know is, mine's the best.
Thanks, Ass Kisser. Up next, American Airlines has been hit with a record $4.1 million fine by the Department of Transportation for keeping passengers waiting on tarmacs for extended periods. This fine is the largest ever imposed by the DOT for such delays. The incidents affected more than 5,800 passengers on 43 flights between 2018 and 2021.
Now, as you may or may not know, I just got back from traveling and had the privilege to fly American. So, full disclosure, I'm a little salty because they're sort of dick at their job. And I know it's not all of them, but man, the ones that didn't give a are, let's say, plentiful. Anyways, if you've ever been stuck on a tarmac, you know it's like being stuck in a tin can of sadness. But imagine being stuck there for 6 hours and 3 minutes in Texas heat. That's a whole new level of Dante's Inferno. Not quite the bottom, but still bad. So the DOT is telling Amair, you've been a bad boy, and slapped them with a $4.1 million fine. The previous record was a $1.9 million fine against United Airlines. So Amair didn't just break the record. They shattered that bitch like a glass of wine at a Greek wedding. Now the airlines say the delays were due to exceptional weather events. Oh yes, the classic, it's not that I didn't want to go, it's just the weather was bad excuse. But here's the kicker. The DOT found that American Airlines, quote, lacked sufficient resources to appropriately handle several of these flights once they landed. In layman's terms, they were unprepared. And get this, the fine will be split into two. Half goes to the government and the other half is credited back to the airline passengers for compensation. So it's like getting grounded but still being allowed to go to prom. Now let's talk about this multi-million fine for a second. Now on the surface, it sounds like a lot of money, right? I mean, I could buy a small island with that kind of cash. But let's put it into perspective, shall we? American Airlines is a multi-billion-dollar company. For them, a $4.1 million fine is like finding loose change in the couch cushion, or like Bill Gates getting a parking ticket. Now, half of the fine goes back to the government, and the other half is credited for passengers' compensation. So it's not even a full $4 million hitting their bottom line. It's like grounding your kid, but letting them keep their smartphone. Anyways, is this fine really gonna bring about change? Well, let's look at the track record, shall we? American Airlines was fined $1 million back in 2019 for similar issues. Did that stop them? Clearly not. So what makes us think this new fine will be the magic bullet? The DOT says they're enforcing the rights of airline passengers, but let's be real. These fines feel more like a gentle nudge than the strong arm of the law.
President Joe Biden has claimed he was at Ground Zero the day after the 9/11 attacks. Spoiler alert, he wasn't.
Yeah, so in a speech commemorating the 9/11 attacks, Joe Biden claimed that he was at Ground Zero the day after the Twin Towers fell. That's a pretty bold statement to make, especially on such a solemn occasion. CNN's Daniel Dale did some digging around and found out Biden was actually at Ground Zero 9 days after the attack. 9 days. Not one. 9. That's over a week. Much different than the day after. He might as well be saying he was at Woodstock, but actually showed up to be like the cleaning crew or some shit. The White House even confirmed this with a photo and an article showing Biden, then a senator, touring the site on September 20th, 2001. Now, this isn't the first time Biden stretched the truth. He's got a rap sheet of false claims, from witnessing a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh to being arrested during a civil rights protest. He's collecting false memories like they're Pokemon cards. See, when you're president of the United States, every word is under a microscope, sort of like being in a relationship where your partner remembers every word you've ever said. So when you start making shit up, especially something as big as this, people start to wonder, what else could this guy be fibbing about? College debt. Oh, dust. Damn it. Allergies. There must be bullshit somewhere close by. Anyway, public trust is like a house of cards. It takes a long time to build, but can collapse with one wrong move. And let's be real, Biden isn't exactly a rookie politician. He's been in the game for decades. So when he makes these kinds of mistakes, it's not just a whoops-a-daisy. Trust in leadership is crucial for implementing agendas. If the public starts doubting the president's words, how are we going to rally to support for the things that we want? And let's not forget the international implications. If the president can't get his facts straight, how's that going to look when negotiating with other countries? If Biden keeps this up, world leaders are going to start fact-checking in real time. Excuse me, Mr. President? Could you cite your sources on that? Fuck, at this rate, Biden might as well claim he single-handedly defeated Thanos. I grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet and said, "Not today, buddy!" Then snapped my fingers and sacrificed myself to save the entire universe. So, what do you think? Is Biden's claim a simple mistake, or is it a symptom of a larger issue? Let us know in the comments below.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump is demanding the removal of U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan from a case involving alleged sabotage in the 2020 presidential election. Trump's lawyers argue that the judge's comments are inherently disqualifying.
Oh, Orange Man, how I look forward to seeing you all the time. Very soon. Sarcasm. Donald Trump, the man who's been impeached twice but never convicted, is now trying to kick a judge off his case. I mean, if this were a reality TV show, the ratings would be through the roof. Trump's lawyers claim that Judge Tanya Chutkan made comments about Trump that suggest she believes he should be tried and punished, and they're saying this disqualifies her from the case. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were facing criminal charges, I'd probably want a judge that's never heard of me either. Trump wanting to remove a judge is like a kid wanting to switch teachers because they got a bad grade.
Mommy, can you talk to the principal? This judge is so unfair.
There's a pattern here. Politicians make comments that could be seen as biased or inappropriate all the time, yet they rarely step back from their official duties related to those comments. If politicians recused themselves every time they made an inappropriate joke, Capitol Hill would be emptier than my bank account, and well, there wouldn't be a lot of them. Shut up. Anyways, what do you think? Is Trump's move a masterstroke or just another episode in the never-ending drama that is American politics? Let me know in the comments below. And that about does it for today's episode of the Insight Hour. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, stay weird, stay safe, and I'll see you on Friday.